Hi, I'm on assignment, and the name of my channel is Help. My parents are getting older. Sure, the title uh, is getting older, but we're all getting older. And I am not a licensed physician, but what I am is a family caregiver. Through my experiences, I have learned a lot of things along the way. My father passed years ago, a couple of years ago, and now I am taking care of my mother. And my channel is, for one, it is to help. It's to help me by, I just feel like my experiences and what I've learned have, and it can help me by me talking about the experiences that I had taking care of my father before he passed away, and also taking care of my mom. So it is something that I wish to share with others who may be going through something similar. Maybe you're taking care of a loved one. Maybe you have a friend that needs taken care of, and you don't really know what to do or where to turn. I've had those challenges in my life as well. But on this segment, on this video, I wanted to talk about how do you prepare for the impending loss of a loved one. When I thought about this video, it's really a difficult conversation to have, just to be honest and open. It's a difficult thought to think about your loved one not being here any longer. But it is something that we all must go through. There are two things that are certain in life: death and taxes. And the impending death, and we don't necessarily like to talk about death. I know I didn't want to talk about death years and years ago when I would visit my parents, and my mom and dad, they wanted to have a difficult discussion. At least it was difficult in my opinion. And that was to tell me what their wishes were. They had taken the time to go to pre-plan for their funeral. They took care of the details of where they wanted to be buried, who they wanted to do their services, and so on and so forth. But for years, months, years, I did not want to sit and endure this difficult conversation. Until one day I decided, okay, I'm ready to have this conversation. And so I went to visit, and I explained to my father and mother that, okay, I'm ready to have this difficult conversation about dealing with when you're not here anymore. It's even difficult for me to say now, so they showed me all their paperwork that they had been to pre-plan. They picked out their caskets and so on and so forth. And now looking back, I realized that was so important, and I appreciate that they took the time. One thing that happens when your loved one passes away or your friend passes away is you are in shock. You start a process of grieving. And whether it is ethical or unethical is not for me to judge. But if you are in a state of grief or in a state of shock, and you go and you have to make vital decisions on how to bury your loved one, do they want to be cremated or what have you, there are people, not all of them, but there are people who are in business to make money, and they will take advantage of your grief. They will take advantage of, it does sound heartless, and it is heartless, but this is life. This is life. And so it is important to pre-plan. It is important to have a talk with the loved one. What are your wishes? And not only in the conversation or dialogue between you and your loved one, those wishes that you have, they need to be written down. They need to be written down and filed, whether with a lawyer, a paralegal. You need to have a living trust. If I need to help you, I can help you in any way, try to figure out the best way to get a living trust, I will do that for you because it is important. It is just that important. One of the things that I also, in preparing for a loved one passing away, a good friend of mine told me to start recording, whether it be on video or if you have a app on your phone, voice memo, where you can start recording conversations that you have. Not that you're snooping or you're doing an investigation, but there is something comforting about hearing your loved one's voice after they're no longer here. And this could be an opportunity for your loved one to talk about past experiences or things that they remember or fun that they had or whatever the case may be. It's an opportunity to have a dialogue, and it will be comforting at a later time to hear your loved one's voice when they're no longer here. So there are certain things that all of us have to do before a loved one leaves us, both business-wise and also emotional-wise. It is important that you have a support network set up. It is important that you have a living trust. It is important also in the living trust so that it doesn't go to probate. It is important that whoever is the power of attorney realizes that, in my case at least, it is a revocable living will, the one that my parents set up, which means that whoever is listed in charge can be replaced. So if there are things that happen, oftentimes there are problems or issues or challenges between family members when it comes to, I say, weddings bring out some of the worst sides of people, but also a death of a loved one. So it is revocable. You can have a revocable living will, which means changes could be made. Whoever's in charge, that could be changed. But it is important that you have one so it doesn't go into someone else deciding what your wishes are or the wishes of your loved one are or were. So it is important to have a living will. It is important to reach out to loved ones, to your loved ones, your family members. It is important to have a sit down where you discuss these important topics. What are we going to do? Who's going to be in charge? What are the funeral arrangements? There are a list of questions that need to be asked. Do they have pre-planned funeral services? Do they want to be cremated? Do they want to? So there are certain questions that need to be asked. So it is important to gather your family members together and to have discussions, difficult discussions, but discussions to make decisions before your loved one passes away, or while they are in their right mind, if you will, or they're in a state of where they're mentally capable of making decisions and to convey what their wishes are. It is important also to take time for yourself. Self-care is very, very important. When being a family healthcare worker, a family caregiver, you will be faced with unknown challenges from all sides. You will be faced with a great deal of stress. You may be challenged by family members or the siblings of your family. So it is important, if it's not number one on the list of things to do when you have taken on the responsibility to be a caregiver or a family caregiver of a loved one, it is very important that you plan a vacation. Plan a vacation. If it goes to buying a ticket, a non-refundable ticket, it is important, because it is important that you take care of yourself, because how can you be an effective caregiver if you are in the hospital, or you suffer a stroke or a heart attack because of the stress that you have now taken on has become overwhelming. You have to find a balance in your life, whether it be going to a park, treating yourself to a spa day, or a massage, or just turning your phone off, unplugging from the matrix, if you will, for 15 minutes, whether it be meditation, praying, what have you, talking to a friend. It is important that you take time for yourself. Self-care is very important. It is important. I'm reminded of one of the announcements on an airplane before you take off, that in the event of an emergency, the oxygen mask will fall, but it's important that you put your oxygen mask on first before you help your neighbor on either side of you. Thank you for listening. I invite you to stay tuned. I'm on assignment. parents are getting older,